It's Emil Guillermo. This is my somber war tone, I guess. Emil Amok to you. Welcome to my Takeout, my Emil Amok's Takeout. You know, every time I go to the Rogue Festival in Fresno, something bad happens. And I said that out loud in public in Fresno, and someone in the audience said, "Don't come." I don't know what he was meaning by that, but there I was. Last time I went to Fresno to do a show sort of on the same theme about what's going on in this Trump bubble that we live in. And you remember the Oval Office meeting with Trump and Zelensky? They met, and Trump is saying, "You have no cards, you have no cards, you have no cards." I mean, we were all like thinking, oh, well, we're for Ukraine, right? Because they were invaded by the Soviet Union. But in that first 100 days, right, that first meeting, 2025, everything's flipped, right? Suddenly, the leader of the free world is, on the side with Russia. So every time I go to Fresno, something happens. I didn't expect war. But when Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton were deposed, I knew maybe Trump was in need of a distraction, and here is the distraction. It's called war. Because it's not a limited strike. It's a war. This is a regime change. He said it. Remember that video? That video that was released on Saturday night. I did my first show on Friday night in Fresno, and I said, I hope that when I do my show on Saturday night, everything's okay. And Saturday morning, boom, we're at war. So there's still tickets available to see my show in Fresno. Go to the Fresno Rogue, FresnoRogue.org, I believe. I'm doing a show next Saturday at 12:30. And then I do some shows in San Francisco after that. Go to amok.com for more information there. But, the war has been on my mind. And of course, that means I should bring up my good friend of the show, College of Ethnic Studies, Asian American Studies, San Francisco State University, Professor Emeritus Daniel Phil Gonzalez. He joins me now. And Dan, thank you for being here on the show.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me on this Monday, March 2nd.
Yeah, well, look, of course, when we're at war, I think of you. I say we're at war. We got to get Danny here.
I don't know if I appreciate that. I appreciate it, but kind of in a weird way.
Yeah, well, I know. Well, see, here's the thing. We're in day 3 of this short-term war. It's not going to be short-term. He says 4 or 5 weeks. It could be longer. Whatever, whatever it takes. And that means we are in forever war. My first columns on Substack yesterday, I said, hey, Trump is in the forever war business. It's almost like, you got to listen not to the things he's saying today on Monday, his first public appearances, which is more like he comments on it, but he was really there to try to drum up the war beat. Here are these war heroes, right? We're going to have more war heroes, but I just don't think it's working. What do you? Oh, we're. All right, I think we're back. Okay? We're back. So, what do you think, Dan? What were your thoughts when you woke up on Saturday and we're at war?
Well, first thing is I thought of you because on our last discussion, you said, "Will we be at war?" And you sounded like you were expecting us to go to war. And I'm flickering like crazy now. Let me see if I can get rid of this problem. You're flickering too.
Yeah, you're all right on my end. You're, maybe it's CIA or something. I don't know, but I think we're fine. Your background's flickering. But it's not bad. It's not bad.
All right, let me change backgrounds and see if that helps.
Nope.
Still
there. Still there.
Okay, we'll forget about that. All right. Anyway, I said, I hope not. And the reason I said I hope not was because at that point, they had been hinting that they might do something that they expected to be in and out like Venezuela,
Yeah.
because everybody was saying that was such a great success.
Yeah.
The military went in and out, no casualties, and we captured the guy. I mean, it's fantastic, And then,
Yeah.
of course, he said, "I'm going to run the country. I'm going to run
Yeah.
Venezuela." He did not do that, right? He
Mm.
allowed the existing structure and in fact, the vice president, to ascend to the presidency, and because she's willing to deal.
Right.
So he got what he wanted in terms of looking good, because he got rid of Maduro, and on the other hand, right, he's got an oil deal.
Yeah.
So that's what he wanted. That's what Standard Oil has wanted. And I've said on your show that I was working as a janitor. Well, actually, we were cleaning light systems, and I guess that's different than simply being a janitor. But I had access to a bunch of old files where Standard Oil had been involved in lawsuits with Venezuela. That was in 1971. That was in 1971. So this has been an ongoing issue: is American oil companies versus third world countries, and especially Venezuela. Because I also raised the fact that Venezuela's got dirty oil, right?
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Get back to Iran now. This Iranian thing.
So now we got Venezuela. It was an easy go. So we're going to do Iran. Iran is 93 million people. They have a huge standing army. They got ballistic missiles. They got drone systems that they donate to everybody from Hamas and Hezbollah on the west to Russia on the east, and they've been doing that forever. And so this is not going to be a walk in the park. This is not going to be a 2-day thing, a 3-day thing, unless something really calamitous happens on the Iranian side. Okay. And in the meantime, they're hitting everybody in the neighborhood.
Yeah. So and everyone in the
neighborhood, including Oman, right? That were trying to buffer the situation by being a go-between, and then they got bombed.
Yeah. And everyone in the neighborhood is fighting back, right? And so what we have is, what Trump has done is he's taken the milkshake shaker or the martini shaker, and he's shaking it up. I mean, it was still water, right? And now he's shaking it up, and for what? I mean, I think he did not give peace a chance. He should have given peace a chance. And he was, but what could you expect? He had Witkoff, right? And he had his son-in-law. And they're just looking for deals. They're looking to enrich themselves. They're not looking for the good of the people. And so, of course, the negotiations are going slowly. There was some progress, but it was going slower for Trump. And in that Saturday video, he just throws up his hands and says, "Hey, they wanted a deal. They didn't want a deal. They wanted a deal. They didn't want a deal. And we can't take it anymore. We can't take it anymore. So what's the next option? Pull the trigger and start a war? I mean, it's so irresponsible."
Well, then he pulled the trigger, and all of the bombs are flying, and everything's going off, and allies are being shot at. Everybody's worried about their own security, including the Western allies. We're not just talking about people in the near Asia neighborhood. Okay.
Yeah.
And then he says, "But we can still make a deal." We're in the midst of war.
Yeah.
He's blowing people up left and right. The casualties are starting to mount, right? Even in Israel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we can still make a deal. What is that?
Hey, come on,
people, rise up, Iranians, with whatever you got. Okay. Okay. Whatever you have, rolling pins, shovels, pitchforks. Come on. Okay. Go up against the IRG. Are you crazy?
Well, this is the thing. You mentioned the IRG, and the Ayatollah is dead. His wife is dead. They were killed in the opening salvos. But here's the thing about Trump's planning. He's like the one-move chess player, right? He's not thinking ahead. He's not thinking about, well, who's going to rise to power? We don't know. Is it the IRG? Because we know that Iran was moving away from the Ayatollah. The Ayatollah was kind of transitioning out. We're moving toward a more legislative sort of system there. something different from the supreme ruler. I mean, so the supreme ruler was more like a figurehead, but we don't know about the IRG. We don't know who's going to lead. Is it going to be the Shah's grandson coming in? Is it? I mean, everyone is reveled in the Ayatollah's death, but we don't know who replaces the Ayatollah, or who's the leadership. And as you point out, who has the guns? Who has the firepower to lead the charge? Is it going to be a peaceful people power thing like in the Philippines, or are they capable of that?
Well, you had some military backup, though. Even in the instance of the Philippines, you had two things happening. One was you did have some military support for the uprising, and two, you had a desire on the side that was being ordered by Marcos. They didn't want to follow through on the orders.
Right,
They
refused
to shoot civilians on the street.
We've got potential, some real dissension. In fact, we don't know what's going on. And the word from Iran is no one wants to negotiate with the U.S. now. So this idea of, well, Trump says, in the first hours, we fulfilled, the first stage of the mission, which we thought would last a couple, 4 or 5 weeks. And now they're thinking, okay, 4 or 5 weeks, maybe, who knows, whatever it takes. Is this a forever war?
Potentially, yes. Yes. It all comes down to what the IRG and the military do. Okay, that's what it really comes down to. It doesn't even matter who the leadership is. It doesn't even matter if they do have a replacement Ayatollah now. Okay, they've got another guy in. Okay, but he's I've forgotten his name, but he's
it's got to be like Khomeini.
His name years ago, and he was a judge that was known for. He had a reputation for putting away dissidents. And people who would be permanently disappeared, and
so repressive, typical repressive.
Another authoritarian, and so that's all predictable, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what would you expect, right?
Well, but no, if we're listening to Donald Trump, we're expecting, and you know what Trump said. He said, it's like he's like Bob the Builder. I'm going to raise this thing and then let you build your glorious government, right? He said, the words of Trump were, to the good people, proud people of Iran, the hour of your freedom is at hand. When we are finished, take over your government. This will be your only chance for generations. Man.
Yeah. Yep.
This will be your only chance
to do. And how long ago was it? About 2 weeks ago, he said, "We're going to back you up. You go ahead. You do your thing." Maybe more like a month. Get up, take over your government, and we'll back you up. We'll be there, right?
And look what happened with the people who listened the first time to Trump. They went out and charged out, and they got killed.
That's right.
They were killed, and so I don't know what kind of credibility does Donald Trump have. Not that he has no credibility in the U.S., right? We obliterated Iran's nuclear capability, right?
Well, he's got some renewed credibility now, because there are people who come out and waving Iranian flags and some American flags, and in New York, for example, and right here in San Francisco, there was about 1,000 people showed up, being joyous about the fact that Khomeini's gone and dead, and the people who were second and third in line are also gone and dead. And one guy said, and this is really naive, he said, finally, Iranians are free. Okay. That's not happening, man. The same structure is still there. They really don't understand government. Once again, they don't understand structure.
Well, Dan, it's like, I can see why they cheer the bad guy has fallen, but they just got another bad guy.
They got replacement bad guys all over the place. The structure still exists, and the real power is the IRG and the military. That's the real power.
So here is the other question, not just the Iranian, do-it-yourself regime change, which is BS. The question here in the United States for Americans is, where's Congress? And does Congress grow a spine now? Does Congress say, oh, as we got to reconnect here. Does Congress say, give us our War Powers Act, and then what about the American people? You know, when the week began, we thought with the State of the Union address, we were hoping we'd see some explanation for something that was inferred could happen, a military strike, but we have not seen that. And we didn't, there he goes. You're back. But we didn't see that. And now people are wondering why we don't want war. The polls are showing 60% don't want war, don't approve of this. What's going on, Dan?
Okay. Congress hardly matters right now. Yeah. Because once again, the American public has every right to be confused at this moment, because you have the Democrats and some Republicans saying this is an illegal war. This is unconstitutional behavior. It's completely consistent with Trump's other violations of the Constitution. It should have come to Congress. Okay. On the other hand, you have Republicans who are supporting the action. You got some Democrats who are supporting the action because they wanted to get rid of the Ayatollah Khamenei as well, okay? Yeah. And they want, if possible, regime change as well. So you got elements in both parties that are supportive of the action, even though they still declare that Trump's behavior is illegal and unconstitutional, and he should have come to Congress. Then you have ardent Trump supporters who say, no, that's a lie. He went to the 8, right? And he went to those 8 members. They represent, it's bipartisan,
right?
And he went to them, and so it's legit, right? Well, that's not the case either. He may have gone to the 8, but the 8 are not Congress in debate, coming to a resolution and saying, yes, let's declare this a war, or at least let's support this as an executive action, an emergency executive action. None of that has happened. Right. And so the reality is the critics, and particularly the Democrats, have at least the correct argument. Now,
it is illegal by international law too.
Well, yeah,
right? You can't have a war of choice. You can't say you need that imminent threat. And where was the imminent threat? There was no imminent threat.
Yeah.
The imminent threat is the threat to our democracy. That's the imminent threat.
Yeah, and this is actually a threat to our democracy from the exterior. Okay, so we've got the interior threat that's an ongoing. Okay, and now we have an exterior threat. Okay. I want to know what all of the people who have been committed to rooting out the people who are in need of deportation to make us safer, right? You've had a lot of the elements of the FBI and national security being routed in the direction of getting rid of brown people, okay, and taken away from their everyday exercises having to do with external and internal sleeper cell threats. Okay,
right.
So why aren't there people coming forward of this administration, or even members in Congress, who say we are watching for security risks here domestically? I want to hear that.
Well,
I haven't heard anybody raise that.
Well, because the reality is the man who has threatened not just law and order domestically, but law and order internationally and globally is the guy who declared war. And that's the President of the United States. I mean, the President of the United States has made everything less safe with his actions on Friday night, Saturday morning. And
there was already a multiple shooting, right? There was a shooting somewhere in the southeast.
What? I mean, a mass shooting?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a mass shooting in Austin. It was in Austin.
Austin, okay.
Austin, Texas. And it was a Senegalese immigrant. He had on, I think he was Islamic. It was the was the word. But we haven't heard much talk of that in the news, because everything in the news has been on Donald Trump and on Hegseth's response, and people are trying to analyze it. And then Donald Trump took his television time this morning as a moment to honor, war heroes from the past, because he's getting us ready to having a lot more war dead, and that is the other big question that Americans have to face, because there are already four service members dead, and there's going to be more, because you can't have these aerial assaults and only aerial assaults. You've got to have boots on the ground. And Donald Trump told the New York Post, "Hey, I don't have the yips when it comes to boots on the ground. I don't have the yips when it comes to the boots on the ground." There's your golf metaphor. Yeah, and here's the thing: he does not get a mulligan for screwing this up. There's no mulligan for war. So
Yeah.
I
This is exactly what I feared. Even though, quietly I was in agreement with you that the probability was there, that there
yeah,
was going to be some kind of deployment of military action. Now,
yeah.
the reality is, right, that they were making it sound like a light action might be capable
Oh yeah,
of
yeah,
turning right? And
yeah,
the reality is, if the objective really is regime change or something akin to regime change, you're absolutely right. They had to have boots on the ground.
yeah,
There's no way you're going to be able to realize that, okay, unless there was a fully armed group that could take over, and and that there were people in the military who would not fight for the government.
yeah.
They're done with the theocratic government, and so that's a possibility. I've heard rumors that there are people in American intelligence that have been working with elements of the military, but then that's the military versus the IRG, right?
Yeah.
I don't know that there's going to be people in the IRG that are willing to put down their guns and not
Yeah.
fight for the government.
Now the IRG, that's the Revolutionary Guard, right?
Yes,
And so
that's right.
now what control do they have on the government? I mean, if the Ayatollah is still basically kind of like the figurehead, but they're moving off that to a less you know into a more representative, not necessarily legislative type, but they're moving away from the supreme ruler idea.
Well,
We're
they're enforcers. They're
yeah,
enforcers. It
yeah,
would be the equivalent of if a combination of the FBI, the Secret Service, and the NSA, right?
yeah,
And
and yeah,
they're investigators and they're enforcers all at the same time, and they also play the role of directing what happens with the military. So if a military leader steps out of line, the IRG is seen as the enforcement wing, right,
mhm.
of the Ayatollah and the government leadership.
So
That's who they
so
are.
So right now, who do you think has the power? They've got the Ayatollah. The Iranian state, news is putting out information, but who's in control? Is it the same old structure, or are there going to be people who are, say, I mean, some of the subordinates have been killed also, but are there going to be people within the structure moving up who say we're maintaining this? Or is there a chance for Iranian people to take over the government? Because I'm sure Donald Trump has his fingers crossed, hoping that someone steps up and they're good guys and not bad guys. But I don't necessarily see that happen right now.
Yeah, I'm looking up who the current Revolutionary Guard leaders are, because
Yeah,
those are the people who would be ready and willing to step up, regardless of what the system is in the
yeah.
replacement of the Ayatollah, the
So we
position
need a
occupied by the
we need a Dulce Rodriguez, right? We need a vice president who's
Ayatollah.
willing to, right? I mean,
Yeah, but
that's the thing.
she's a civilian. She's a civilian. I'm talking about Revolutionary Guard or military, right?
Ah, well, but then you're going to have
Uh,
something that's going to be like a Mussolini type, or that's a military autocratic dictatorship, and Yeah, I don't know. Are there civilians who are that strong in Iran who could rise up and be the Delcy Rodriguez?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. All right, so what?
I wish you quit making that reference because just I see images of her, and one, she's tiny, and
Yeah,
two, she's when she's yelling and screaming, she's completely unattractive. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So,
yeah. Nothing's wrong with Tiny. Nothing's wrong with Tiny.
yeah,
Hey,
but yeah,
so look,
grossly offensive.
yeah, I can see that. All right, well, look, the one thing that this war has done, it's pushed everything out of the screen or off the our vision. We don't even hear about the Austin, Texas shooting, which could be related. We're not hearing about Nancy Guthrie very much anymore. We don't hear anything about Venezuela, nothing about Greenland, and nothing about the Epstein files, and nothing about the Bill and Hillary Clinton conversations or depositions last week. And I thought, boy, this is why. Is it far fetched to think this is why we had the war? Because he could have put it off. We could have had this war 3 months from now, 6 months from now. He could have given peace a chance. But those
Yeah.
Epstein files.
Okay. Here's the other thing that influenced the timing. Okay. The other two things that influenced the timing are Netanyahu
Right, Israel.
and Mohammed bin Salman. Those are the two
Right.
two influencers, right?
Well, they had the info. They had the
verified. There have been verified reports of personal calls by MBN, MBS, right?
Yes.
And also there were the meetings right in front of everybody between Netanyahu and Trump. So it's pretty clear.
There's that. That's one surface level, and then the other level is the Israeli U.S. intel that the Ayatollah was in. They knew his location, and this was the time. This was the time to strike. I know. Yes,
Yeah,
but
you're all in one place, and right away the commentators, both military and intelligence commentators, said it seems like they didn't learn anything from the previous time when they got the nuclear facilities bombed, even though they weren't as successful. The bombings weren't as successful as Trump claims, right?
Yeah. Well, totally obliterated. but the thing about striking that meeting. This is the reason why at the State of the Union address you have the sole survivor, right? You have the designated survivor, and I think it's in some ways you gotta hope that. Well, I know. Was it that smart for the Trump, for Trump to strike that meeting, or because he makes it sound like this was our chance. This is our chance. I got to strike now. Our best chance. I don't know.
I think so. I think there are two things. One, that was the best chance, and two, he had the easy or the convenient argument that they now have intercontinental ballistic missiles that were capable of reaching the United States.
And that was a bit of information
which our own intelligence has said no.
Yeah. 10 years, right? Mm-hmm. So, but this makes me wonder about, where are those missiles pointed? They're pointed at U.S. bases. What's one of the biggest U.S. bases there? The one in Djibouti. And, American troops are being sent there. And this is a concern. And this goes back to the boots on the ground question. You need boots on the ground. And it's not just a military strike. And I know that there are people ready to be deployed to take care of boots on the ground. Wounded. And that's... Okay, we're reconnecting here. Yeah, that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing. And it frightens me and it saddens me because the commander-in-chief, Mr. Bone Spurs, is not going to be going there, leading the charge on a, as a general in a big white horse. He is going to be seeing this as, a remote video game, and you can't win without boots on the ground, and it's going to mean American casualties. And I think this was his way.
Yeah, and his attitude was, well, that's just the way it is, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the way it goes.
The time that he said that, there were 3 passed already. And he said, unfortunately, that's the way things are going to go. There's going to be more.
Yeah.
And Ahmad Ahidi is the new guy at the top of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard. And because Muhammad Pakpur, that's the name that I could remember, but he's deceased now. So Ahmad Bahidi is the current commander-in-chief of the Revolutionary Guard. So I'm looking at him.
All right.
And I'm trying to find more information about him.
But here's the other thing about this whole weekend gambit of Trump. It is a gambit. He's hoping it's going to pull him through, give him electoral strength. We got an election tomorrow in Texas.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And that could, tip things away from Republicans. And that could he be using this whole war as the pretext for, well, I started this, I ought to finish it. I need a third term. Oh, I gotta see this through. I mean, I'm something, because he's not going to want to lose the midterms, and he won't want to lose in 2028. But something tells me, nothing is out of reach of this guy.
At the conclusion of my last discussion with you, people were chiming in that in the 3rd year, 2 years down the road, you're going to hear him say once again, I mean, just last week, right? He said, what about a 3rd term? He mentioned it in passing, but whenever somebody says 3rd term, and particularly when he says 3rd term, for me, it's like a gaff hook in my cheek, because he's willing to do that, and there's going to be people who are willing to support him
for the good of the country, for the good of the country, and for the good of the country. Yeah.
It comes down to, I believe the Democrats are going to win the House. They may win the Senate, and when they have at least the House power, I'm hoping that they're more aggressive, because they at least have the law on their side when they take positions. They're more aggressive than the Republicans have been. The Republicans come up with ideas and actions that are illegal from the onset, from the very foundation. They're illegal. They're not only factless, they're feckless and illegal. So at least the Democrats have the law and facts on their side. The question is, are they willing to be as aggressive as they need to be? That's my fear.
Hey, look, how about the idea that it doesn't matter, because maybe he thinks that this is going to make Americans love him more. Although you look at, what people like Marjorie Taylor Greene are saying, and you look at what other MAGA types who remember that, hey, what happened to America first? What happened? I mean, because, look, we've been talking for most of our time here about the war and about what's happening. But people here in America who are worried about the economy, gas prices are going up, food prices, I mean, the cost of living is probably going to go up. The stock market, except for defense stocks and oil stocks, they're taking a hit. I mean, in terms of the big affordability issue, I don't know if this war helps that at all. In fact, I think it exacerbates it and makes people more anxious and more worried than ever.
Well, you'll notice that there's no discussion ever since he started on this agenda. There's no discussion of the national debt. What he says is that his tariffs economy and that process will help pay down the national debt, because all of the foreign traders are going to be the people who pay the tariffs, right?
Yeah.
And we know from the start that it is mostly the consumer and the middle, let's say, business interests that pay the tariffs.
Yeah.
And now the discussion turned in that direction. They were forced to engage that reality when people said, well, look at, if the tariffs are illegal, then we need our refunds.
Yeah.
Okay. And so for
No
that
one's
moment,
talking. Yeah, no
yeah.
one's talking tariffs now. I mean, I noticed that when I did my show, I talked tariffs a little bit, and people are saying, "Yeah, where's my refund? Where's my refund?" All of that, all that's obliterated off the news. Epstein off the news, and all we're talking about now is this going to be a forever war? Because if it is a forever war, then we have to talk about another word that was popular in the 1960s in the Vietnam era, and that would be Quagmire. 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 Are we in a potential quagmire? A quagmire.
Yeah. Rehash language. Yeah.
Are,
Yeah.
I mean, quagmire. It's like when you're a lame duck and you're trying to get unstuck.
Yeah.
You're in war.
Well,
You're in a
yeah, there's another
quagmire.
word that starts with a Q, and it's called quicksand.
Quicksand. Ooh. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Well,
know.
what's gonna? I mean, I just don't see. Well, he's not getting out of this without major collaborative help from the Arab world.
Yeah,
And
that's right. But they're already
is he
talking
getting?
about they're all trying to set up to strike back now. They're not just activating a defense mechanism at this point. They're talking about going offensive. And if they do, Iran is in real trouble. I mean, they're going to get leveled, but it's going to take a long time, you know.
Yeah.
And the reality is, they're going to be able to maintain some level of defensive posture.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be time for boots on the ground. So then the question
Yeah.
is going to be, who's going to commit to actually putting live personnel on the ground?
Well, and and that's what begets the idea of forever war, begets the idea of quagmire. You get those boots on the ground, you try to get them out, and you remember how gleeful Trump was when he looked at Afghanistan. He criticized the United States and Biden. But what got me with his statement, he made that short statement before the medal ceremony. He talked about the Iran deal that he called him Barack Hussein Obama had, the nuclear deal with Iran, and we had to get rid of that because they would have had nuclear bombs 3 years 3 years ago, which I don't know if that's true, but my impression of the Iran nuclear bomb deal that Obama said that was pretty sound, but only someone like Trump, who has this thing against Obama, would try to undo it and make his own. And look, he can't make his own. It's like, I don't like that Hilton hotel. I'll raise that and I'll put up a Trump hotel. Oh, I've lost money on a casino. Oh, how can you lose money on a casino? But Trump can. Trump knows how to lose money on a casino.
Yeah, at least twice. Atlantic
at least
City.
twice. So
at least twice.
So I just think, man, this is blood for Epstein, blood for vengeance against Obama, blood for. I mean, what does the American public get? We just want cheaper food, cheaper lifestyle. We're going to get a cheaper lifestyle if we're in war, right? We're going to get higher inflation. We're going to get high costs of everything, higher gas prices. We're getting higher gas prices now.
Yeah, but did you hear how scary they say it might go? Especially if they're able to block off significantly for a significant period of time, the Straits, right, Hormuz. Then, and we know that there's an additional deployment there of boots on the ground, directly opposite Iran, the amount. The highest amount I heard was $7 a gallon. We have never seen $7 a gallon.
I've never
even in California.
We are going to sit back, a few years from now, and we're going to say, Dan, remember when we were in high school and we were paying, the gas went from 19 cents to 39 cents and we absolutely just couldn't take it. 39 cents a gallon. Oh my God, what's going on? And then
In
it went to,
my first sports car, my Austin Healey 3000 with
yeah,
an electric overdrive. It was pretty cool. It had essentially an electric fifth gear, which was a big deal back then, right? But I could make it to Sacramento and back on 2 quarters.
wow, real?
On
Oh
two
yeah,
quarters.
I'm telling you, gas was cheap. Now, I remember my first car, 19 cents, and then it went to 39, then it went to 99, and then it went to $1.50. Oh my God, what's going on?
Yeah,
And now
yeah.
you're talking $7. I did not hear $7. I heard maybe it would go 30 cents higher in some
Oh
places,
no,
and there,
no,
you know,
no, no! I was hearing $5 minimum, and it would go up to it could go up to 7. And
well,
this is coming from that group
what?
that does nothing but watch oil prices.
Oh, Gas Buddy. Who?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
the thing about the gas prices, they'll always quote the cheap places like Iowa. It's $1.99, or they'll say something like that, but they'll never quote California, where I'm always paying like $4, 4.15, 4.99. I mean, it's
hey,
in that
man.
range. It swings,
Well, that's
and
one
it
of the things. That's one of the things that we got to talk about.
yeah,
That's always supposed to go to highway taxes, right, and support.
yeah.
But I think
Well,
there are other ways. I think you can lift that off the backs of the consumer. Uh, you can deal with that quite differently. And other states tax the thoroughfare, right?
yeah,
The out of state movement of materials and equipment. So railroad cars, trucks,
yeah.
that
But
kind of thing.
I just think when gas goes up, I mean, we're approaching $5 now. If it goes higher because of this thing we're in,
Yep.
this quagmire, uh, I can see it going 5, 6, 7. I can see
Sure.
maybe 7, but you remember, it's never been 7. It's been like
No,
5,
never been there.
five and a
Not
half,
even
maybe.
not even in Hawaii.
Yeah.
It's never been there. Hawaii's always got. If you want to see high gas prices,
Oh,
it's California and Hawaii. So
but when I was in Hawaii, it wasn't that high. I mean, I thought it was okay, but here, I mean, we grin and bear it. 419, 450. I remember when it got up to 5 in 2003. That was a bad deal. That was, people were saying, "What am I doing?" And people were, there were there were very few hybrids back then. Now,
oh yeah,
or very few, no, hardly any electric cars. But this is the Trump administration. They raise your gas prices and they get rid of all the green standards. They get rid of electric car,
that's right.
uh,
Well, they got rid of
benefits.
they got rid of the rebates on electric
Yeah.
cars,
And
and
so,
they made it, and of course, they want to make sure that those Chinese electric cars never make it into the U.S.
oh yeah, they're supposed to be better too. We want
Yeah,
those.
and
We
way
want those.
cheaper,
Yeah.
way cheaper. I mean, they got a couple of cars that even if they were, well, if they weren't subject to the tariffs, they've got a couple of cars that could sell in the American market, especially in the urban market, for
Yeah.
under $20,000.
Yeah.
So
I mean, this is the thing. This is Trump, the Trump economy, the Trump administration. It's war, it's high prices, and it's don't talk to Congress, don't talk to the American people, talk to Benjamin Netanyahu, send your diplomats, your son-in-law, and your developer buddy to talk to Russia and to talk to the Iranians. What kind of deal were we expecting? What? What kind of, not, it was probably not enough for Trump, right? Trump wanted something there for his brother-in-law, his developer buddy, and him. Oh, and the United States comes third or
Well,
fourth.
how about all of the people that say, well, yeah, but we're for Trump because we're for capitalism. This is the worst practice of capitalism that has ever happened, to my knowledge, including all of the generations of corruption that have existed for
Well,
American government and American businesses.
yeah,
You had
that's
gross
what I,
corruption, Remember when everybody had to have wheelbarrows during the Revolutionary War because states were trying to put out their own their own currency?
Yeah.
Remember that? Okay,
Yeah.
and
I
then
got my own
you had the
wheelbarrow.
Civil War. You had the Civil War, and gold was again the real currency, right?
Yeah.
Then you had the the late 19th century industrial development, and where sugar was really the money.
What's going to be the money
monopoly.
now? Trump coin, meme coins now. Trump
You know,
meme coin.
I don't know where it's at. I think it's failing.
Yeah.
Most of the Bitcoin and everything else, all of the meme coins, they're failing. Everybody's going to be running for precious metals again.
Yeah, gold. Well, I noticed gold is up, but the crypto was supposed to be the solid thing.
The new gold, that was more solid. And anybody that could believe that has got to be. You got it. You have manure for brains, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just bought a little bit of crypto, not a lot, just to sort of play in it.
I got some to play. But
Yeah. I mean, it's gone up, but it just has gone up. It's gone down, and now but I don't have any gold. I just have the gold, on my.
I bypassed gold completely. I went with silver and platinum.
Yeah. Well, I've got the gold in my Snoop Dogg Skechers. That's about it. And so anyway, well, Dan, I think if you're an American, like, here's the thing. When I was in Fresno, I was among people who, are some, older, I don't want to call them hippie types, but counterculture types. They remember the Vietnam War. But a lot of them are sort of younger and don't remember the Vietnam War. And a lot of them are less political. They're more individualistic, and they don't remember the Vietnam War. So, and so most of the people I encountered yesterday, especially the young people in their 20s, maybe they didn't hear the news, but they just, this was happening and there was no uprising. There was no sense of God, what is happening to our country? I mean, I hope it sinks in, but what do you think? I think Americans are kind of, I don't know if they get it yet.
Yeah, I think your observations are provocative, right?
Yeah. I don't want.
Yeah, you're not putting them down. You're just simply saying you don't see any real active concern.
Yeah. Well, shouldn't there have been people out there? I mean, we saw the Iranians rally, right? Because they love the Ayatollah dead. But shouldn't there be Americans saying, wait a minute? I mean, there are a handful. I saw some video, but not like what I.
Yeah, there was something in New York, and there was something downtown here in San Francisco that was economy oriented. But I think for the younger generation, they're worried about whether or not they can get a gig.
A gig?
For many years now. For many years. And it culminated in the post-COVID period.
Yeah.
Whether or not a 4-year degree is worth anything, in terms of the job market, right? That's been an issue.
Oh yeah.
Especially because the costs are so high now. Just to finish a college education.
Yeah.
And so for me, I was advising people don't spend big bucks on a prestige university for a BA or a BS. Get your baseline education at a well-reputed government school, a state school.
Yeah.
Or start out at community colleges. That's great.
That's the easy way. But
they've done that. They've done that, and then they still can't get a job. Okay.
Yeah.
And so they don't want to go on for even higher risk, because back in the 80s, even the state system started to differentiate between graduate school, which is higher cost, right, to administer graduate school, because you have smaller classes and higher cost instructors. The professors are advanced professors at usually full professor status, the highest level of full professor status. And so they said, we're going to raise tuition for graduate school. And that's the way it's been operating since then.
I know, and it's still hard to get a job. Yeah, I get it. But these people are going, the young people are going to be, they're going to bear the burden of the war. They're the young people. Here's what I worry about, that it's going to accelerate the use of AI in warfare. And we saw what's going on with Hegseth, you know, putting the screws on Anthropic. Anthropic says we're not going to do it, and now we're going to see some pressure.
Well, well, they did what they were going to say. The administration, Hegseth, did what they were going to say.
Yeah.
They said that Anthropic was a threat.
Yeah, and so
well, not a threat, but a risk. It was a national security risk.
And I think that they want the government wants their hands on that technology so they can spare those young people and they can fight the war, the push button war, the modern war, and then we're on the downside to hell, you know.
Yeah, but did you see what Anthropic was concerned with? One of their big concerns was consumer privacy.
Oh yeah, it's privacy. Yeah,
privacy rights, you know, probable cause under the 4th and 5th Amendments, and all those kinds of issues. And the military said, you know, they said nothing on that. There was no reaction to that.
It's going to be a court battle, right? I mean, it's not like eminent domain. You know, we want your AI rights. You know, we're going to take it over. So another court battle, and which is good because then everything goes slowly. But I think if the government gets its hands on AI for warfare, and it's got to some degree, but not as good as the Anthropic one, where I think with the Anthropic AI, there's no human being involved at all. I think. I mean, we're already seeing drones.
Autonomous. It's completely autonomous.
Yeah, we're already seeing drones. Yeah. And you know, that's what's going after Israel now.
And Musk has converted the Fremont plant to robots.
Yeah.
So do you think it's a coincidence that Anthropic is a San Francisco company and Musk is converting the Fremont company, which is like 35 miles away, over to robotics? I mean, this is going to be very interesting this year. Yeah. You know, from an electronics perspective, it's going to be very interesting.
All right, look, Dan, I promised we wouldn't go too long, and we've gone a little bit, but I'm a little worried. I hope, what's the optimistic sign we should be looking for? I hope Nancy Guthrie is found. I think that would be optimistic.
Yeah, that's really a sad case.
Sad.
Very difficult situation. Yeah. And you know, whenever the family comes out and makes a plea, I'm really, my empathetic, sympathetic nerves, you know, are very offended. And
well, now we got to think about all the people who will have family going to the Middle East, because we got to fight Trump's war. And that's my bottom line. This is Trump entering the forever war business, and I'm calling it. This is the branding of Trump. This war is Trump's war.
We both have family that are active duty.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Yeah. All right. Well, Dan, we'll wait for the good signs. We'll bring it back up and talk more. But I appreciate you being on the program today.
Yep. So we're going to be watching oil prices.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And we're going to see what kind of effect that has. Does it wake up the American consumer about the relationship, right, between war and not just that this is a distraction from Epstein and all the rest of that, but that they're directly affected by these kinds of decisions.
Yeah.
So my job is the same as it was when I was teaching, and that is to point people in the right direction and help them get information so they can make appropriate decisions and to take action. Yeah. That's what you were talking about. Taking action.
And that's voting. And if you're in a voting state tomorrow, Tuesday, big day in Texas.
Well, in preparation for voting, you got to be talking about these issues actively, right? Yeah. Taking positions actively, talking with your neighbors, talking to relatives. Okay, as long as they're not hardcore Trumpers, they're accessible, and you should be doing that.
You're right. You're right. I mean, you can't just talk as you're walking to the polls. It's got to be an ongoing thing. You got to be engaged in your civic life. It's got to be part of your entire life so that your vote really matters.
It has to be seen as a real responsibility. You cannot benefit from all of the things that this society provides, right? And then simply ignore the responsibility to engage in an informed manner and an informed and principled manner in the political process. And that is not only the vote, but the discussion about the issues. You gotta be engaged.
Yeah. All right. Dan, thanks. I'll be in touch. There he goes, my friend Daniel Phil Gonzalez, College of Ethnic Studies, Asian American Studies, Professor Emeritus. There he goes. San Francisco State University. Man, I don't know. I mean, it's always good to talk to Dan because he kind of puts it in a way that the bottom line is we got to be engaged. We got to talk about these things no matter what side you're on. That's sort of the point of my show. Emil Amok 69. A real journalist stands up. It's not about, are you Trumpy or not Trumpy? It's about just engaging. And, for art's sake, for life's sake, for society's sake, there's your QR code. Get tickets for the remaining show. The remaining show is on Saturday, March 7th at 12:30 p.m. Hey, take a drive to Fresno. If you live in Merced, not that bad a drive. If you're down south, if you live in Visalia. But yeah, Fresno. Fresno in the Tower District is a very nice place. So check out the Rogue Festival. There it is, the QR code. It's the Rogue. I'm on the Fresno Arts Annex, 814 East Olive Avenue. Tickets at FresnoRogueFestival.org. 814 East Olive Avenue is actually it's a nice space. It's not a big space. It's like 40, 50 seats. It's comfortable. You'll laugh. Low ceilings. It's funny. So drive out there. Saturday, March 7th, 12:30 p.m. One last show. First 3 shows were great. First show, okay, nothing happened yet. Saturday, war. Oh, that was a big show. That was a good show. Last night, oh man, somber because we were in it. And then March 7th, Saturday, we'll see what happens. 12:30 p.m. Who knows? I think something's going to happen again before I leave. So 4 shows only, 69 Emil Amok at the Fresno Arts Annex. Nothing's online, but if you go to amok.com, I will give you, or I will, tell you all the different places I'll be appearing. Wednesday, World Series of Comedy. You can see it online if you're not near Sacramento. I'm at Laughs Unlimited, doing a 5-minute set, part of the World Series of Comedy. That's on Wednesday. And then back at this on Saturday. And then I'm in San Francisco, March 15th or something. I know. Check amok.com for more information. But I'm playing at the Playground, SF Playground Comedy Festival, doing a version of Emil Amok 69. It's just an Emil Amok monologue. It's called Anchorman. The news made me do it. Because the news did make me do it. All right. That's it. Thank you. Thank you for joining me. Really, I mean that. Somber, right? You get up and then you get somber again. Hey, we like to close with a little loving kindness, a little meditation, because that does make the world go round. And so, as I wish for me, I wish for you. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. And may you live with ease. Hey, tonight, Monday night, 7 o'clock at the Lotus Room in Fresno. I forgot. I'm going to be reading poetry. Fresno Rogue has a poetry slam. The Fresno poets versus the slamming Rogue poets. And today because I don't know. I'm not going to be competing, but I just get to read 2 poems. So check it out if you're in Fresno. The Rogue Slam in the Lotus Room off on Olive Street there by Component Coffee. It should be. It's always a fun show. It's always sold out. It's packed. I never see the Lotus Room packed to the gills like I do on Poetry Night. It's fun. Check it out if you're in Fresno or close by. All right. And so, as did I say already how many times I love you guys? As I wish for me, I wish for you. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. And may you live with ease. Did I say that already? I've forgotten. I think I said that. If I didn't, there, you got a double dose today. A double dose. Until next time, Emil Guillermo, Emil, Amok to you.